Hey everybody, it is the most wonderful time of the year when I look at starter kits. For the Kit of the Year project, I look at 10, 15, 20 starter kits and bring you guys the best. And one of the submissions is this FNK 0059 all-in-one kit by Freenove. Freenove is a company I'm familiar with. I've reviewed, I think, a few of their robots and other kind of more basic starter kits, but this is the first time they've had one of these all-in-ones. And if you've watched the channel for a while, you know I'm a big fan of the all-in-ones. And the reason for that is that I like to separate out wiring problems and things like that from the actual electronics theory and coding. I feel like people are generally trying to learn all three at once, so that's not a bad thing to separate that out. Now, again, I'm not against the other kits. In fact, a more standard kit got the Kit of the Year last year. But we are going to take a look at this and see what it brings to the table. If I remember correctly, I paid for this one. It's somewhere around $50 or $60, so you pay a little bit for the form factor. I've got a thing here for the tutorial. Have some acrylic, looks like 3mm acrylic. I have a box of parts that we'll be getting to in a minute. And we have, let's see here, this is a PIR sensor. Looks like a screen with a backpack on it, 16x2 LCD. You have your ultrasonic sensor. That's probably one of those barometric tilt type things. Servo, or not servo, yeah, whatever. And yeah, let's pull this thing off and see what we got here, because this is the part that we all care about. It's well packaged, I'll give it that. This one came from Amazon. What I basically do is I scour the entire internet. I go to the company's websites. I do everything trying to find the coolest starter kits. And this one obviously caught my eye. So we've got the little sticker here. And this is it. So what I'm seeing here, I've got a sticker stuck to my finger. What I'm seeing here is a place to put a more standard Arduino, which is kind of cool. I've never seen one exactly like that. Usually there's some way to put something over here, but you can actually stick some kind of standard Arduino on there. I'm guessing upside down. We've got, let's see, some I/O indicators. I love that. I did a board with a duck and a girl in a bikini on it, and I love the fact that the output's lit up on that board. Got a blue LED, a matrix, power supply. Got some caps over here. Barrel jack in. Is that a button? Oh, external power switch. This is for the stepper motor. We have this cool little segment LCD or LED, 7-segment LED here. Got some pots, your Bluetooth sensor, some different place to plug some sensors up here, some dip switches. Obviously, going for some kind of gamepad motif. A relay, a passive buzzer, and an active buzzer. That's kind of funny to put both of them in there, but I don't know that I've ever used them side by side, so maybe this would be a cool way to experiment with that. We have that MPU, I think that's that time of flight, some kind of weird sensor like that, and infrared. So I will start, let's take this thing apart here. So we've got some more stuff here. This is one of those keypads. So this really is interesting because this is kind of a hybrid. So most of the time when you get one of these kits, everything is together. So you don't really deal with the individual components. But this one looks like it's like mostly together. Like there's some stuff pre-done for you, but then you still do get to hook some of the stuff up. And I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Oh, sweet. One of those little LED rings, the RGB LED rings. And it's actually branded by Freenove. So they're getting more into the custom circuits. That's a 10mm LED. Got some button caps, servo. This was a stepper motor. I call it a servo motor. I couldn't think of the term stepper motor. It says it right on the back. Some standoffs and the actual Arduino. So I think the best thing for me to do is to take a look at this a little bit. Maybe I'll do some assembly on camera, and then I'm going to start looking at their documentation instructions and see what you can build with the thing. All right, so I popped on over to the Freenove site just to kind of get an idea for the instructions. And overall, they're really good. Like they're obviously not 100% English native, but they're very, very good. And I mean, I would say they're actually better than a lot of people who are English native speakers. The instructions were clear. There was no weird English or anything like that on them. They were all very readable, a lot of pictures. So this kit, you go on their website and they've got a list of all the kits. You go to the 059 kit that I got, and you download a big zip file, and it's got everything. It has, it has all the drivers. It has the picture of every board on there. There's a 206-page manual for this kit, and even shows you the different variants of the boards, and just a very, very well done set of instructions. And like I said, I mean, the English was better than a lot of native English that I've seen. It's kind of funny because over the years, I've pretty much just elevated Elegoo and Key Studio up at the top for that sort of thing. But these guys are right there. They're making their own boards now, as I pointed out. Like, this is a quality board. Like, it's got the really nice board color on it. It's just well designed. There's, any of that is my fingerprints on there. It is just a very well done board, and they've even things like that. This is one of their older ones, but the little 10mm LED, love it. They branded something else. It was even funny, even this little thing on the bottom of the motor, which a lot of these have just the wire sticking out. I love that they made that removable, and it's Freenove. There we go. It's Freenove. And so it's just cool. It's not necessary, but it's a little touch that I like. And when you're manufacturing this stuff, like, I like to know that people think. I think most of us would agree that people just have given up on the ability to think. And so I love that somebody took the time to think through that they care enough to do that, and that's pretty awesome. Okay, so it took me less than 10 minutes to put the whole board together and to get all the components wired up, and I didn't hook them all up to the board, and my thought was that I'm going to be powering it from the USB, and so I don't want to draw too much power through the thing. I looked through the instructions, and there was no place where it told you, hey, just hook everything up, so I didn't. Especially because we've got the stepper motors and servo motors and regular motors and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to just hook all that stuff up, but it all does kind of come over here, which does make things a little bit busy. But again, the instructions tell you to hook up one thing at a time. Now, I think if I was going to use this in any kind of permanent installation type thing, I would fish something like this under through here and then maybe run the wire up this way, so that you get a nice, neat thing. Maybe put a piece of plywood around the outside. We're going to talk about the form factor in a little bit. But the first thing I always want to know is, did they do anything cool when you actually hook the power up? So you're going to see me hook the power up, and I'm going to experience what you would experience. It is USB-C, which makes some of you guys happy. So we're going to plug in the USB-C, and then I've got an outlet strip over here, and we can 3, 2, 1 contact. And yeah, so we've got some stuff going on. The matrix is doing some stuff. We've got some numbers popping up over here. We've got some LED bars. It's clear that the RFID is up. Let's see if these pots do anything. Oh, something happened. So let's see here. Now, one of the other things I noticed, and this makes sense because you are using an Arduino Uno, is that these pins are being multi-purposed. I mean, we've only got 13 digital pins and a whole bunch of stuff hooked up to it. So as you look here, you can see that, for instance, if I were to flip this dip switch over here, I can go between having pot 1 do something or your typical analog input. So let me flip that, and then we're going to take pot 1. And yeah, you can see right here, so the little LED light on this is going up and down based on what the pot is doing, where on this one isn't having any effect because the dip switch is over here. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense that with 13 digital inputs, you're going to be multi-purposing some of this stuff. So anyway, let me take a look at some code and kind of get an experience as to what it would be like to program this thing as someone who had never done it before. I think the one I want to start with is something with this joystick and buttons, because I've honestly I've had some random gamepad type things, but I've never actually done anything with them. So we're going to find out what to do with the joystick and buttons. So to give you an idea of the experience, once you download that thing, you get the data sheet for the actual kit itself. There's the CH40 drivers that you would need to make the USB uploading work with the PDF. There's all the libraries that you'll need for the various sketches that they have. Now you can get those through the library manager, but a lot of times you want the right version, and so they've provided all that for you. This is for processing. I don't really use processing, but anyway, it's there. There's all of the sketches are spelled out for you, and you have the tutorial. Now, the tutorial is a 209-page document. As I mentioned, the English on it is pretty dang good. Let me bring this down here. So as you come down here, I'm going to skip through a lot of the introductory stuff, but you get the layout of the board. There's a full table of contents. This PDF includes the layout of the board and telling you what all these things are. There's some obvious warnings and things like that up front. It just really spells out how this thing works. And, you know, like I said, the instructions are good. Peel the sticker on the acrylic surface. If you don't think it's necessary, you can leave it alone. So, I mean, maybe not exactly how an American would word it, but definitely not bad English. Very clear instructions, very clear part layouts and things like that. And really just nothing I can say bad about the basic instructions. So let's take a look at an actual project. It's really easy to do searching on this thing, so I just do joystick because that was what I was talking about. And we're going to jump down to the joystick section, and they're going to tell you up front what you need. You need the control board, the Arduino, you need the USB cable, and you obviously need this big honking thing. And so what I like about this is, and I'm reading this for the first time now, but I've scrolled past it. I like that they break down how this thing works. It's a kind of input sensor used with your fingers, and it gives you, you know, an idea of what all these different things do. A little circuit diagram explaining how it works with the vertical and horizontal axes. And then you're going to get some instructions about how it's connected to the board here, and instructions of that you need to turn the joystick thing over this way, and then, you know, giving you some just real basic instructions. Then we get into the coding section, and they're telling us to write the sketch, and obviously we can use their existing one, but they do come through here and document it. So they're telling you that we're reading the analog values of the X and the Y. They're serial printing it out, which I think is a good move, so that you can see what's going on there. And they do explain what an ADC is earlier in the manual, which I think is pretty cool. So they're telling you what's going on with that, and then showing you the output that you get from the serial monitor. So I can't necessarily ding them for this, but I would, and if I did, I'd basically have to ding every single Arduino starter kit for this. But what I would really like to see these kits do is, you've got this joystick, and I would like to see something along the lines of maybe you're turning on 4 of these dots here, and when it's centered, and then as you move the thing around, maybe you're moving the lights around on the LED matrix or something like that, to take this from a theoretical usage of the joystick to something a little bit more practical. Now, again, that's not really exactly practical, but I'd like to see people take that the next level, and basically no starter kit does that. As I look at this stuff, I mean, I've talked to the manufacturers of these kits, and they're having a ridiculously difficult time getting these parts and things like that to even build the kit. So I'm happy that they're out there, and putting time into software is difficult, because they're not going to see much payback from that. But I would love to see people take this stuff to the next level and integrate it all together. And in fact, for the coding array, I actually made my own interactive mode that took the things that were on the board and put them all together into a Node-RED dashboard type thing. And yeah, so that was kind of one of those things where I felt like the industry needed something that put these things into one big project where you could see everything at once. So in order to kind of give a verdict on this board, I need to look at the competition a little bit. The most direct competition in the market right now is this Grove beginner kit, and it's available also from Amazon, and it's going for about $35 right now. They've been on sale for as low as $19, but lately they've been in the $35 range. This board is a great board. I love the OLED on it. It's obviously not as big and obviously not as feature-packed as the Freenove one. It's got a lot of external sensors and options and stuff like that. But out of the box, you definitely get a lot more with this $60 board than you do from this $35 board. That kind of makes sense. I would consider both of them, their software, about the same. I'd love to be able to point you to this one over here. This is probably the most direct comparison in form factor. This is the coding array, and it is, this version is no longer in production. But I would say if this was the actual Kit of the Year competition right here and I had these two boards sitting in front of me, I would have a really difficult time choosing between them because I think they're both great. Pretty soon, you're going to be able to buy this one or something real similar to it. This is an early prototype from the Coding Array people, but they're having production issues like everyone else, getting the parts and getting these things into the US. So right now, it is pretty much these two against each other. I do have the Dr. Arduino board here, which I've not put together. This is about twice as expensive right now and is not assembled. So it's kind of in a different class. So I have a hard time really comparing these two together, and we'll be discussing this one in a future video. So overall, a lot of it depends on what you want out of a board. If you're willing to spend $60, I think the documentation is great. I think the layout of the board is great. I think the quality of the components are great. And I think this kit is worth every bit of $60 and then some. So anyway, that's my opinion. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video.